All right, some business stories. After nearly 3 months of declines, Nigeria's foreign reserves surges to hit $33.95 billion compared to $33.94 billion recorded in the previous week. The naira also appreciated by 4.4% to 743 naira 7 kobo per dollar at the unified market-driven portals. The local currency remains volatile and under intense pressure from unmet forex demands. We'll bring you more on that story in our subsequent bulletins. Nigeria's Deposit Insurance Corporation has begins process of payment of depositors in 179 microfinance banks and 4 primary mortgage banks across the country. This was revealed in a statement on the corporation's website, which states list all microfinance banks and mortgage banks involved. The commission is calling on depositors affected by the liquidation to provide alternate bank accounts in commercial banks for their payments, while for those without an alternate bank account and yet to be verified should visit the nearest NDIC office with proof of account ownership and verifiable means of identification. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau has announced that the country's civil aviation sector is scheduled to undergo a comprehensive safety audit by the International Civil Aviation Organization at the end of August 2023. Director General of the NSIB, Mr. Akion Lateru, reveals this at the closing ceremony of the peer review exercise of the Banjul Accord Group Incident or Accident Investigation Agency in Abuja. Mr. Lateru says the upcoming ICAO audit will provide valuable insights into the safety status of Nigeria's aviation sector and identify areas that requires improvement to promote safer skies. Well, the National Agricultural Commodities Project has commended President Bola Tinubu on his recent State of Nation address. The group says the president's address showed leadership, responsibility, and accountability alongside empathy, however, suggests areas which should be included in the economic plans. Lara Folayo reports.
Following protest by Labour, the president addressed the nation, sharing palliative plans to support businesses, the working class, and the most vulnerable, as well as policy interventions to check rising inflation and ensure exchange rate stability. The president also made known plans to ease transportation costs, boost manufacturing, and enhance food supply while working to ensure affordable food prices. The National Agricultural Commodities Project now commends the efforts of government to kickstart sustainable economic growth and improve productivity, which would definitely revive Nigeria's sluggish industrialization and expand the GDP. It, however, wants more enterprises included in the business funding plan beyond the target 75. The group as well seeks that government closely monitors the banking sector in the provision of the promised loan facilities so that the rates do not exceed 9%.
The government will need to closely monitor the banking sector in the provision of these loans facilities so that the eventual cost of funds is not above 9% from the banking fees and charges. It may be judicious to stipulate that the total cost of funds in benchmark to 9% regardless of the charges and fees.
The group is glad that grains from the strategic reserves will be released to households and that support for agriculture, including farmland cultivation, will be a priority, but wants to assist with the planned distribution of seeds for easy access and equitable distribution to its members, which constitutes the bulk of target beneficiaries. It is as well concerned that nothing was said about security, farmers and herders clashes, which is a critical factor in national development.
These plans demonstrate that the president is listening to Nigerians. The president covered most of the strategic sectors of the economy, but nothing was said about security, farmers and herders clashes, which is a critical factor in national development.
The group also wants development of existing grazing reserves and support for the cultivation of specialized pasture and feeds for livestock in collaboration with willing state governments. This is alongside recapitalizing the Bank of Agriculture to work with commercial banks for the smooth running of the program and facilitating cottage industries and the farming communities to mitigate wastage and gluts during harvest. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
Asian shares markets were in a cautious mood today after a mixed U.S. job report sparked a rally in beating down bonds but the new hurdle lay ahead in the shape of U.S. and Chinese inflation figures due later this week. Now, MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan is down, was a fraction firmer in thin trade after losing 2.3% last week. Japan's Nikkei slipped 0.2%, but found support at its July low. Chinese blue chips eased 0.7%. Investors still disappointed at the lack of major and concrete stimulus steps for Beijing. Eurostock 50 features dipped 0.3%. FTSE features 0.5% going the other way. S&P 500 features added 0.4%. Nasdaq features 0.5%. According to the Recruitment and Employment Confederation and accounting firm of KPMG, it says the UK hiring witnessed its steepest decline since mid-2020, as employers hired fewer permanent staff through recruitment agencies due to economic outlook. The UK temporary staff hiring usually increases when the outlook is uncertain. However, it showed the weakest growth in 9 months, primarily as more individuals sought permanent positions. The poll also cited a tough market for job seekers and their key gauge showing the permanent staff hiring slumped to its lowest since June 2020. In addition to the survey released, Chief Executive of Recruitment and Employment Confederation, Mr. Neil Cadbury, cited economic uncertainty as a catalyst for the latest challenges of the job market. And according to reports made available, around 80% of Credit Suisse investment banking staffs in Hong Kong will be laid off this week as part of the bank's integration with USB Group. Only approximately 20 bankers of the 100-strong team will be spared from the court. The integration follows USB's accusation of Credit Suisse in June, aiming to reduce risk in investment banking operations. Credit Suisse and the USB declined to comment on the proposed job cuts as of the time of our report. USB had laid off employees from Credit Suisse Investment Bank in New York last week. And finally, Saudi Arabia's state oil giant Aramco has reported a near 38% drop in second quarter net profit, reflecting oil prices and thinner margins in refining chemicals. The Middle East oil giant said its net profit fell to 112.81 billion reals, that's about $30 billion, from the quarter to June 30 from 181.64 billion reals a year earlier, topped the $29.8 billion expected by 15 analysts in an Aramco-provided poll.